All right, now we are recording. So first, naka-identify tayo ng time frame of our choice. Second is nag-observe tayo ng movement ng price action. And dito clearly, ano ang nakikita natin? So meron tayo ditong price high, low, higher high, higher low, higher high, higher low, higher high. So anong meron tayo dito?
Uptrend.
Yon. Meron tayong notion ng trend. Pero hindi lang tayo sa notion ng trend nakatingin. So kailangan natin i-identify whether the trend, yung highs and lows, make sense. So meron tayo ditong solid structure or confirmed structure. Actually guys, makikita nyo dito, by writing and listing the facts, magkakaroon kayo ng connection sa market, or may makikita nyo na feeling connected kayo sa market kasi tinitrace nyo yung movement ng each vector. And by connecting the facts, doon kayo magkakaroon ng sense of interpretation kung ano man yung intentions ng market participants. Kasi kung lahat ng facts sa chart will make sense, yun yung operational logic natin na would make sense na we might be looking on a high quality trade opportunity. So on number 0, meron tayong solid structure. Bakit naging solid structure? May makakasagot ba?
Sir, question, bakit hindi yung candles before yung zero? Kung kailan nag-start yung movement.
Kasi
yan po.
tinakal kanina doon sa strategy natin, meron tayong tinatawag na market memory. And yung market memory is short-term memory lang yon. Wala siyang pakialam sa obsolete information. And before kayo mag-analyze, make sure ang relevant lang sa market memory is yung most recent price action. So dito, hindi natin kailangan mag-zoom out throughout to the left para lang makagawa tayo ng logical context. Okay? So enough
Hindi
na yung price
yung
action.
Dito po sa baba.
Alin? Ito?
Yung before sa zero. Yung yan po. Bakit hindi
yan yung... Kasi pwede kong ganyanin lang. Actually, walang basis nun. Actually,
okay.
Ang inaano ko lang is yung most recent. The most recent, the better. Kasi the market or chart tends to respect and react on the most recent price action. And hindi, sabi ko nga, hindi mo kailangan ng sobrang way past information para maka-extract ng meaningful context dito sa price chart. So, anong meron tayo dito? Meron tayong solid low dito sa number 0. Bakit siya solid low? May makakasagot ba? Wala.
Kasi po may na-create na higher high.
Yes, exactly. So solid high, that means meron tayong ditong buyers at this level which able to surpass the previous high, which is yung territory ng sellers. Kasi ang territory ng sellers is nasa high kasi ang trabaho nila pababain yung price. And ang trabaho ng buyers na nasa low is pataasin yung price. Meaning, itong buyers na to is have enough power to surpass the previous high, which is yung territory ng sellers. And number 1 is a fake structure because yung sellers sitting on number 1 wasn't able to surpass the low in number 0. So nag-failed siya mag-create ng lower low. Alright? So si number 2, solid or fake?
Solid.
Solid?
Solid.
No. Number 2 is fake. Bakit? Number 2 is fake kasi although na-surpass niya si number 1, hindi nag-close above yung body. Alright? So, ang fake structure is meron kang poke na nangyari dun sa previous market structure pero hindi nag-close ang body. A confirmed structure, always remember, if yung candle body is nag-close above doon sa previous structure. Alright? So number 4, solid or fake?
Solid.
Yes, kitang-kita natin ang decisiveness ng buyers dyan sa area na yan. So we have a solid structure on number 4. And dito, interestingly, makikita nyo yung price action. So itong number 4 na to, i-zoom out natin based doon sa candle interpretation na meron tayo. So the first interpretation natin is yung relative volatility. So the candle in questions will be itong dalawang candle na to. So we have these two candle na i-analyze natin based sa price action. And on bar-to-bar basis, meron tayo ditong price action reading, which is yung relative volatility, shape interpretation, relative position, and bar quality. All right. So first, meron tayo ditong prior candle, which is yung red candle natin. And the candle na ina-analyze natin is itong green candle. So in this green candle, ang relative volatility niya is much higher than the previous candle. And in terms of shape interpretation, it is an outside bar, completely engulfs the previous candle. And kung gusto nyong i-zoom in pa, makikita nyo. Dito, nagtapos ang price. Alright? So, dito, nagtapos ang price. Saan ba yun? Yan. So, this will be the opening. Alright? And right after ng opening, nag-jump yung price. So, meron ka ngayon ditong gap. So, etong gap na to is suggesting a buying power. Kasi meron kang gap up. Kasi 'di ba ang opening ng candle is etong dapat na to. Pero nag-open siya doon. And at some point in time, pinababa yung price up to that opening pero nag-close yung candle with a very decisive bullish candle from the buyers. So in terms of relative volatility and shape interpretation, meron tayong strong buyers na na-surpass yung previous candle. And in terms of relative position, makikita nyo naman, meron tayong gap up and meron tayong very decisive bullish candle which interprets dito sa bar quality. Makikita nyo kung gaano ka-solid yung body na yan. And right after, makikita nyo naman, that gave birth to number 5. So number 5 right now is the undeniable high sa chart. So we have highs and lows. Makikita nyo, wala pa tayong ginagawang trade. This is just the power of observation kung anong nangyayari sa buyers and sellers. So right now, in-interpret natin yung price action and na-surpass na rin ng buyers yung resistance created out of number 1. Right? So nakikita nyo kung paano tayo mag-build ng context. So ang bias natin dito is meron tayong buyers strong enough to create higher highs and higher lows. Ngayon, meron tayo dito ngayon ng sellers from number 5. Whether this is a fake or solid structure, hindi pa natin alam kasi price is still being unfold. Now, itong obvious highs and lows na to, this is what we call a major flow. So the flow within the major flow is what we call a minor flow. Ito yung sinasabi ko na pwede nyo makita yung edges ng lower time frame without even jumping on the lower time frame itself. So this is where the multi-time frame and fractal analysis principle applies. All right? So dito, pwede tayong makakita ng supply and demand zone as well. So meron tayo ditong minor supply and demand, minor demand, na nung bumalik yung price, naging supply naman siya dito. So, bakit ito yung minor supply? Kasi ito yung last point kung saan nagpakita yung buyers surpassing the minor flow, yung minor high dito sa minor flow. So, does it mean anything? I don't know yet. So, ito yung mga facts na kailangan nating makita or i-list down to make sure na hindi natin sila nababaliwala. And meron trade-off dito. The more detail na mag-focus ka sa tiny details, nandun yung risk na ma-miss out mo yung overall chart context. So it's always good practice to look on a major flow and notice the minor flow. Kasi at some point in time, yung minor flow tends to win over the major flow, especially kapag pumasok na yung market makers or meron tayong market manipulation. Alright? And makikita na rin natin dito yung power ng simple support and resistance line. So by connecting the previous high to number 1 and extend natin siya sa future, meron tayo ditong resistance line na identify. So let's see kung anong gagawin ng price dito sa resistance line, subjected kung makakarating nga yung price dito. And to further extrapolate this line, para makita natin yung support, meron tayo ditong support sa baba. We have a perfect touch on 0 and number 2, pati dito sa minor flow ng vector 2 to 3. By the way, ang vector is 0 to 1, point 1 to point 2, point A to point B. So 0 to 1, 1 to 2, 2 to 3. That's how you name your vector. So dito, meron tayong clear definition ng supply and support and resistance. All right? So, makikita nyo naman once ito sa number 0, yan, makikita nyo dyan yung momentum offset. This is a fractal bar. All right? By the way, this is a fractal bar. Number 0 is a fractal bar. Hopefully, nakikita nyo kung bakit. So, i-zoom out natin yon. So, nakikita nyo yung momentum offset. Makikita nyo yung peak ng price compared dito sa peak ng RSI natin. So, dito, makakakita ka ng lower low sa price action. Pero dun sa RSI niya, gawin natin siyang blue. Ay, ito wala. Yan, lower low. Pati ko kasi, kasi may ano kasi yung paharang yung screen. Baba ko nga, yan. So, gawin natin siyang blue para kitang-kita. Yan, pala natin. And sa relative strength index natin, siya ay pataas. So this is a fractal bar. And yung momentum offset niya is makikita mo dito sa peak na to. Alright? So ito yung pinaka-peak. Pero forget about the peak. Yan. So meron kang price going down, pero meron kang momentum going up. And that momentum offset is pointing to this candle, which is a fractal bar. Hopefully, it's clear. So ganyan kayo mag-identify ng fractal bar.
Sir, question. Hindi
Sige.
po ba dahil dun sa bullish candle siya, kaya siya nagkaroon ng upward sa ano? Possible ba na bearish yung candle pero merong momentum offset?
Oo, ito. This is a fractal bar. Ito, tsaka ito. Paano siya naging fractal bar on a bearish candle? So, meron ka ditong price going up. Okay? And meron ka ditong momentum offset. Price is going down. Kita mo yung offset?
Hindi pa. I mean, magkaiba po yung, paano pong magkapareho yung candle?
What do you mean?
Parehong red, for example.
Parehong red? No. Hindi mo siya mako-consider na fractal bar kasi iba, hanap tayo ng parehas na ito. Meron ka ditong parehas na candle, na red candle. Tignan mo yung momentum offset niya. Wala siyang momentum offset. Kasi price both going on the same direction. So for you to have a bullish fractal bar, it should be green. And for you to have a bearish fractal bar, you need to have a red candle. Tanong pa?
Yung isa ko pong question dun sa ano, dun sa slanting support from the first red mark, red arrow,
Okay.
to yung sa number 5.
Okay.
Bakit po hindi sa extreme nung number 5 kinonect?
Hindi mo siya
Para po
i-connect
mag-touch
doon kasi yung
sa
number 5
false.
is projection ng ito. Kinonect ko yung extreme from the peak nito to peak number 1. So nung
Okay.
kinonect
So
ko
yung
yun,
number,
nadali niya yun number 5. So yun lang yung dalawang.
so yung 2 points po is the number 1.
Yes.
Vector 1.
Yan yung dalawa.
Okay.
And
So
clearly
hindi po
na-project.
yung
Oo.
nasa taas.
Yes, na-project niya yung number 5. Alright?
So kapag gagawa po kami niyan, yung pinaka-recent na higher high,
Pag nag-plot ka naman ng resistance line is you always choose the peaks para ma-consider mo siyang resistance kung saan nauntog yung price. Same sa support.
yes po, pero saan po ibabangga? Sa pinaka unang higher high kahit na fake structure siya?
Oo, regardless kung anong structure mo, ano pa rin naman siya, structure pa rin siya at the end. So dito, nagkaroon lang tayo ng first observation na meron tayong na-connect na 2 points na nag-project ng reversal dun sa number 5. Right? Pero dito, kulang yung context natin para mag-enter ng trade. So dito, we are just only observing. So for now, ang na-observe natin is yung fractal bar. Na-observe natin yung solid and fake structure. And na-observe natin yung trend. So, yun ang meron tayong information ngayon and yun ang meron tayong facts ngayon. Now, ngayon, sabi ko nga sa inyo, hindi lang sa bar by bar or candle na may measure yung price action natin sa auxiliary tools natin kanina. So, pwede din natin i-measure yung vector doon. So, paano natin i-measure yung vector doon? So, in terms of distance and magnitude, makikita nyo itong vector 1 to 2, Palitan natin ng kulay. Let's make it black. Mas makapal. Yung distance na tinravel ng vector 1, ng 0 to 1 to create a high compared sa distance na tinravel ng vector 1 to 2, pababa. So in terms of distance, almost the same sila. So we can interpret this one as buyers and sellers have a similar strength. Ano ang pinagkaiba nila? Yung magnitude ng price movement. So definitely, mas malaki yung magnitude ng price movement ng vector 0 to 1 compared sa vector 1 to 2. Kaya tayo merong higher low kasi hindi niya na-surpass to. So, ganyan tayo mag-gauge ng price action. But then, dito, makikita natin from number 2 to number 3 is nagpapakita ng sign of weakness yung buyers. Kasi it took them several candles bago makarating dito sa number 3 and meron tayong fake structure. That is one facts na hindi natin pwedeng i-deny sa chart. And in terms of magnitude, almost the same yung movement nila. So from here, napaka-define na meron tayong clear buyers. And here dito, yung sellers, nag-take lang siya ng ilang candles, pababain yung price to number 2. And yung buyers, nahirapan siya ulit bumalik the same level dun sa number 1. That's another good observation sa pag-judge ng strength ng market. And this movement to number 4, we can interpret this one as maximum exhaustion point ng energy ng buyers. And meron tayo ditong sunod-sunod na high volatile candle. Kasi, and dito, makikita nyo dito, out of that, we call this one an ignition point. Yung ignition point natin is kung saan nag-decide yung buyers pataasin yung price. So, yung candle na inanalyze natin kanina, that serves as an ignition point. And from that ignition point, kumuha tayo doon ng demand zone. So, paano tayo makakakuha ng demand zone? So, meron tayo ditong tinatawag na inward frequency and outward frequency. Inward frequency and outward frequency is basically the roof and floor ng inyong demand zone. So, upper limit and lower limit ng zone mo is yung pinaka inward frequency and outward frequency. Yung frequency is based doon sa ilang touches ng candle wicks ang ire-respect ng line mo. So dito sa frequency natin, meron tayo ditong 2 touches, 3 touches ng candle wicks, and meron tayo ditong 1 touch lang doon sa ating inward frequency. And right after bumalik ng price doon, definitely nag-show up yung buyers again, confirming na this is a confirmed demand zone. Kasi right after nag-touch yung price doon sa inward frequency natin, ng demand zone natin, nakita nyo naman yung reaction ng price. But then again, meron na naman tayo ditong another challenge. Kung itong buyers na bato will have enough strength to create another higher high. Take note na meron tayong sign of weakness ng buyers na nakikita from number 1, 2, and 3. So, definitely, this is an area to watch. We will mark that one as a supply zone. So, meron ka ditong inward frequency and outward frequency to create the ceiling and floor ng yung supply zone. And kapag dumating dito yung price, titignan natin kung anong gagawin ng price action. Kasi sabi ko nga sa inyo, sa edges ng market, right? Doon tayo makakakita ng high trade quality. High quality trade opportunity. Kapag bumalik dito sa confirmed demand zone natin, titignan natin dito papasok yung fractal flow strategy. Kung magkakaroon tayo ng reversal divergence or hybrid divergence. So ang in-expect natin dito, magkakaroon tayo ng continuation if our bias is still with the buyers. Pero hindi natin pwedeng i-disregard yung fact na meron tayong sign of weakness ng buyers na nakita sa vector 2 and 3. And 4 could be an exhaustion move from the buyers. And the fact na meron tayong lower high na namumuo dito sa minor flow is confirming na slowly pumapasok na yung sellers sa ating ina-analyze na chart. So, does it make sense ba yung analysis natin or may nakikita pa kayong iba? So hanggat wala tayong confirmation, wala tayong papasuking trade or wala tayong gagawin dito, kundi mag-antay sa price, ipakita na ready na siyang mag-reverse. Alright, so papakita ko sa inyo yung isang example ulit kay Bitcoin. Yung manipulation na nangyari kay Bitcoin on 1-hour chart. So dalawang manipulation yung nakita natin. So papasok muna tayo dito sa unang manipulation. Alright. So dito makikita natin we have, mali pa yung label ko. This is a third degree fractal reversal divergence. Pero bago tayo makarating dito sa third degree na yan is let's analyze the chart muna. Okay? So meron tayo ditong 0, vector 0 to 1 and vector 2 to 3. So we have 0 as solid or fake. Hello?
Solid.
Solid. Okay. Solid kasi na-surpass niya tong previous high. Alright? Number 1 is solid or fake?
Fake.
Yes, it is fake kasi hindi niya na-surpass yung 0.
Point.
Yeah. And right now, meron tayo ditong turning point line which is demand zone. So this is the inward frequency. And kung maglalagay tayo ng box, this is our demand zone. Price comes back to the demand zone. Ayun, nagkaroon ng reaction yung price. And buyers show up kasi nga meron tayong strong buyers dito. This is a solid structure. So that confirms the idea na meron ngang buyers doon sa zone na yon. So itong buyers na to is nag-try i-surpass yung number 1 to make number 2 a solid structure. Pero anong nangyari? Kinapos. And right after that one, nag-consolidate and nagkaroon tayo dito ng tinatawag na expanding pivot formation. So expanding pivot is when you have a lower low followed by a higher high. This disrupts the notion of trend. And makikita nyo naman, yung higher high na yon hindi pa rin nag-close above doon sa number 1. Because technically, this is still within major flow ng number 2. Itong 3, 4, 5 na to, and 6 is minor flow within number 2. Kasi nga, ang obvious highs and lows is yung 0, 1, 2, 5, and 6. So 3 and 4 and 5 belongs to the minor flow ng number 2. So ganito ka-importante i-look out yung minor flow and major flow. Kasi dito nagbigay ng subtle clue na nagkaroon ng flow shift nung na-surpass ng minor flow yung number 4. Creating low number 6. Pero hindi niya na-surpass yung major low ng number 2. So from that, tignan natin dito. Nagkaroon tayo dito ng fractal bar from number 6. And right after ng number 6, meron tayo ditong price movement to the upside creating number 7. Pero anong ginawa ng number 7? Hindi niya pa rin na-surpass yung number 1. And this is where we open our position. It was nung last August 15. All right? So dito, nag-position kami and number 2, number 0 yung aming target. But then, doon kami na mali. Kasi nga, yung number 0 becomes, hindi, tama pala. So number 0 is solid kasi na-surpass niya to. And doon kami kumuha ng target nun. So that's the logical target dito sa trade idea na to. Pero bago tayo mag-usap sa target, sinasabi ko lang na logical target siya kasi this is a solid structure. We might see a buyers coming back on this area. Kaya dyan kami naglagay ng target. So that trade is around 1 to 3, I believe. Yan, 1 to 3.3 something. Yung stop loss is just right above the fractal bar. Sasabihin ko kung bakit dyan yung logical stop loss later on. Alright, so balik tayo dito kay number 4. Meron tayo ditong number 5 as a confirmed high kasi na-surpass niya si number 4. And right after natin magkaroon ng number 5, si buyers nag-try i-surpass si number 5 para gawing solid structure si number 6, but then it got frustrated. Kahit doon sa peak ni number 5, hindi nag-close yung price above doon sa peak ni number 5. And this is where we recognize this is a market manipulation. Dito, spoiler alert lang to kasi nga market maker strategy yung mame-mention natin dito. Pero sa trading psychology part ng fractal flow kanina, na-mention itong 3 biases na to. We have the bond restart effect. Ibig sabihin, ito yung agaw attention na nangyayari nung time na yon. At that particular point in time, teka lang may mas maganda akong gagawin. Pwede na tayong i-replay. Yan. Okay? Let's say we travel back in time. Nakita natin and sundutin natin yung mata ng high drawings. Sundutin natin yung mata. Iyan. Malinaw na malinaw. So, asan na yung replay ko? Ito pala. Diyan, ang hirap nating makita kapag nakakakita tayo ng high volatility movement sa market. Teka, ang bilis. Ulit. Yan. So at this point in time, nakikita natin yung structure natin hindi pa rin na-break sa major flow. Okay? And napaka-suspicious ng price action na susunod. Bullish candle, bullish candle, bullish candle. Hindi na siya bullish candle. Pero during that time, makita nyo naman yung price umabot doon sa itaas. So meaning, yung mga breakout traders possibly na-trigger dito. So this is the tri-dimension axis ng market manipulation. We have the bond restart effect giving us the impression na yung price is mag-shoot up. And this is also a bond restart effect. Yung sunod-sunod na organized behavior. Giving the impression na merong buyers. And the fact na galing tayo sa higher high and higher low. right? So what the other people fail to understand is this might be a market edge. Kasi meron tayong tatlong attempt na hindi na break yung ating resistance line, and meron tayong price not closing above doon sa resistance line, making number one major high number one as a fake structure. And look at the candle kung anong candle yung nag-close. It is a fractal bar. Okay? Now, dito papasok yung ating confirmation techniques. So, meron tayo ditong third degree fractal reversal divergence. Bakit? Nakikita niyo yung green upsloping line? Meron tayong price going up, but yung momentum natin is going down. And that is the first divergence. Okay? And inside that divergence, meron tayong yet another divergence na nangyayari, which is yung red upsloping line natin. So, we have the first simple divergence and yet another simple divergence. So, meron na tayong dalawang divergence happening on the same time. So, kung gusto nyong i-drawing yung divergent price territory, it would look like this. Okay? And yet another divergent price territory. Okay? Bakit yellow? Pangit talaga ng choices ng color ko. Yan. Tapos, to confirm, it is a third degree. Meron tayo ditong fractal bar sa number 7. Paano natin ma-identify yung fractal bar? Nakikita nyo itong purple divergent price territory. This is a 1-hour chart. Kung magja-jump ka sa 15-minute chart, meron ka na namang another divergent saan ba yan? Price going up. Hindi, sa 30 minutes yata. Or 5 minutes. Ayun, meron kang divergent sa 5 minutes on a lower time frame. Kita niyo yung black line? Kita niyo yung alignment ng price action doon sa relative strength index? Wala, sagot naman kayo.
Yes, sir.
So this is a third degree kasi meron kang divergence sa 5 minute on a lower time frame, which confirms your fractal bar. And by the way, this is a fractal bar also sa 5-minute chart. But then, sabi ko nga, hindi tayo mag-aaksaya ng time mag-jump sa another time frame kasi ito na mismo yung edge ng fractal bar and ng ating fractal analysis. So, we have a third degree fractal reversal divergence happening. And dito tayo pumosisyon right after mag-close ng candle na to as a fractal bar. Stop will be just right above the fractal candle. Bakit dyan tayo naglagay ng stop? Kasi if this is indeed a market manipulation, price should not go higher than this fractal bar. And yung logical target natin would be this demand zone. Kasi meron tayo ditong solid structure na nag-create ng price to the upside. But then, ano yung mali namin? Actually, hindi naman mali kasi profitable trade to. Is what we failed or what I failed to see is yung number 2 is not enough, is a fake structure. Kasi hindi siya enough para mag-create ng strong movement to the upside, para mag-create ng higher high. So, fake structure is meant to be broken. Pero we are happy we have more than 1 to 3 risk-reward ratio on this trade. And the rest is history. Kung ano nangyari, may kita nyo dito.
Coach, di ba sabi mo po na mali kayo? So ano po pala yung dapat ninyong ginawa?
Actually, yung dapat kong ginawa is yung target ko is much higher. Kasi assuming that this is market manipulation, they will surpass number 0. So kung naisip ko yon at that point in time, ang target ko is ma-surpass itong previous low or at least bumalik dito sa demand zone nung kung saan meron akong last solid structure. So ang mali ko is in-stop ko dito yung target ko, whereas I can extend it to the more logical target knowing na naka-identify ako ng market manipulation and see kung saan dumating yung price. Masyado siyang mabagal. Yan. So dito makikita nyo nagre-react doon sa demand zone ng 0 yung price. So watching this one in real time is really painful. Ayan, makikita nyo naman yung sudden spike to the upside. Ayan na, this is the time na na-reach yung target namin. But then I realized too late na nung nakita ko na fake structure nga pala yung number 2. And most probably it will visit the next major structure. Kasi dito, makikita nyo naman, ito yung origin ng movement to the upside creating high number 1. And tuloy natin yung price. And by the way, ano ko na sa inyo to? Tip ko na sa inyo to. This is not another tip or tricks. A broken demand zone can be a supply zone once it's broken. Katulad ng resistance line na merong switching quality. Supply and demand zone, meron din siyang switching quality na once broken, it can be a supply zone in the future. Which is, yun yung nangyari. Nakita nyo naman, nag-broken down, zoom out, test as supply instead of demand. The same goes here. Kita nyo yung price hindi surpass above the supply line na na-create ng broken demand zone. Yan yung regrets dito sa trade na to. Now we could have gain more. Pero nga, syempre, safe na yung unang assumption natin and that trade already yields more than 1 to 3. So, hindi masyadong nanghihinayang, but then nung na-realize namin, we could have gained more. Pero hindi naman tayo pwedeng maging masyadong greedy sa price action. I mean sa trade natin. As long na 1 to 3, we are more than happy to take the profit. Pero makikita nyo dito, yan, this is on a 15-minute chart na na-mark natin. Meron dito tayong market manipulation ulit sa 15-minute chart. This is a 15-minute chart nung na-recognize namin. So, this is the beauty of market manipulation kung alam niyo yung manipulation pattern, which is yung bond restore effect, katulad ng diniscuss doon sa trading psychology plan. So meron ka ditong market structure number 2 na hindi nag-close above doon yung price. So from number 2 to number 9, meron tayong stair-stepping motion na meron tayong downtrend, which is that is the correct trend based dito sa minor flow natin. But then suddenly, meron tayong spike ng volatility, and watching this one real time is mapapasakay ka talaga sa market. Let's watch it in real time. Tanggalin natin tong drawings. Ayokong tanggalin pero yan. I-hide lang natin. Yan. So let's play the price action. Yung sunod-sunod na high volatile candle yan, in real time, mapapaisip ka talaga trend reversal na siguro. But then, stop. Yan. Nakikita natin sa number 2, hindi niya na-surpass yung number 2, which is still the major flow. Ang major flow dito is yung 0, 1, and 2. Kasi yun ang obvious highs and lows sa chart. That is your undeniable fact. And number 8 and number 9. Yan. Number 9 is a major flow. Because vector 2 to 9 is yung major flow na nag-a-align sa 0, 1, and 2. And itong 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7, 8 is just a minor flow ng vector 2 and 9. And suddenly, meron kang spike ng volatility out of nowhere and hindi nag-close yung price. Second touch, it's an inside bar. Dito ka magsuzoom in ng, sabi ko nga sa inyo, kapag nandun na kayo sa level of interest or area of interest na logical or makes sense, dun yung increase yung obstruction ng price. Here, meron ka ditong, forget about the fractal bar. Ito yung candle in question natin. After nitong high volatile candle na to, which is we can consider the bond restore effect kasi nga, ayan, ini-induce na yung retail trader at walang magagawa yung retail trader kundi mapansin itong agaw pansin na to na price movement. So, meron ka ditong price na hindi nag-close and right after that, meron kang inside bar which is nakakapagtaka. Kung logical interpretation dito, kung ang strength ng buyers is enough to nudge price to the upside, hindi ka dapat suddenly magkakaroon ng dalawang consecutive bearish candle. And right after that bearish candle, meron ka ditong inside bar ulit, which is a weak bullish body from the buyers. And right after that one, meron kang fourth and final touch doon sa resistance line na hindi nag-close, which is a fractal bar. Makikita nyo yung momentum offset dito. Price is going up and the momentum is going down. And that fractal bar itself is a high volatile candle. Makikita nyo naman. Completely engulfs the previous tiny bullish candle. And this is the immediate direction na nagde-decide kung saan papunta yung price. And again, na-recognize natin yan, pumasok right after ng fractal bar. And logical stop would be below a few pips above high number 10. And again, target would be at least 1 to 3. Ngayon, dito yung target natin, hindi natin makita, but then makikita nyo dito, ito yung mga lines na dapat maging aware kayo. So meron kayo ditong resistance line, dynamic support and resistance line kung tawagin namin. So meron kang slope, dynamic support and resistance. Ito yung isang way para kami kumuha ng target. Kasi meron ka ditong resistance becomes support. So in-expect namin to work as a support. Kaya dyan kami kumuha ng target, giving us a 1 to 3 risk-reward ratio. So 1 to 3 risk-reward ratio, approve yung logical stop loss, good trade location, pasok. But then, nakita nyo naman right after, since this is a manipulation, after butasin nung price yung line, instead na i-treat niya as support, tinreat niya ulit as resistance for a few candles. And makita nyo naman, price hovers that one and bumulusok pa rin pababa. So right now, dito makikita nyo, meron tayo itong consolidation ng BTC. And that is expected. Bakit expected? Kasi maraming energy na spent dito sa movement up and down na to. So price needs to consolidate to gain momentum ulit. So, tanong. Wala, clear sa kanila, wala silang tanong.
Coach, di ba po sabi mo, most recent na
Price action.
So, pwede bang kapag mag-plot kami ng 0, 1, 2, 3, etc., mga at least 4 to 5 vectors?
At least minimize nyo sa 200 candles.
Okay. By the way, Coach, doon po pala sa Solana.
Huwag niyo akong tawagin, Coach. Hindi ako sanay. Tawag na, Coach. Okay, kay Solana. Anong nangyari kay Solana?
Kaya po ba doon ng kapag ma-break yung, tawag dyan?
5-minute chart tayo dito kay Solana, no? Balikan natin
Pag
si Solana.
Yung resistance, yung support sa baba ng ng fractal candle. So pwede na ba yung downtrend?
Teka lang So meron tayo dito ang price creating higher high and a higher low. And sa minor flow, kita mo meron ka ng dalawang low, minor low. So sa major flow mo, ang major flow mo dito is 0, 1, 2, 5, 1, 2, 4, 5. Yan yung major flow mo. And makikita nyo naman yung price action dito. Hindi pa rin sila bumabalik dito sa major flow na supply and demand zone na dinrawing natin. So dito tayo makakakita kung ang buyers still sitting sa low number 4 will be strong enough to make a comeback para magkaroon ulit ng another higher high, or the fact na yung slope resistance line natin is suggesting weakness ng buyers, katulad na nakita natin dito sa vector 2 to 3, kaya hindi siya nag-surpass ng slope resistance natin. And right now, nagko-consolidate yung price within that range. Ngayon, titignan natin yung buyer sa number 4 kung meron pa siyang power pataasin yung price. Otherwise, may kita nyo naman dito, red candles, pumapasok na yung sellers at this point in time. So, kailangan nyo maging neutral sa pag-approach ng market. Hindi lang dahil pumasok sa supply and demand zone, magli-limit order na kayo dyan. And hindi lang dahil nasa support and resistance, magpapasok na kayo dyan. So, out sa lahat ng natutunan yung principle is dito nyo, dito itetest at masasala bago masolidify kung high quality trade opportunity yung trade idea na nabubuo sa context natin. Okay? So, mamaya ipopost ko to kung ano nangyari dito, kung magkakaroon tayo ng opportunity o hindi. And meron tayo dito another example na pinrepare ko kay Ethereum daily chart. And this is ongoing trade. Medyo magulo lang kasi ako pag nagla-line works ako sala-salabat na. Okay, dito himay-himay natin. Tanggalin muna natin tong Fibonacci. Tanggalin natin tong unwanted lines. So this is a perfect example ng continuation and reversal. So the best way to do is to replay the price para makita nyo kung saan ako nag-entry. But before that, makikita natin dito, sabi ko nga, at least 200 candles. Ang mapapansin nyo dito, meron tayo ditong price. At this point in time, meron tayo ditong buyers. Ito yung nakita ko. So, hindi na ako nag-mark ng context kasi I've been practicing this one for 2 years now. So, at least ma-recognize ko yung strength ng major flow tsaka minor flow. Pero sa inyo na hindi pa masyadong familiar sa ganitong strategy, it's always advisable to mark the facts. Lahat ng facts. Kahit hindi importanteng facts, i-mark mo. Kasi malay mo, yung tiny details na yon, yun pala yung magbibigay, magsosolidify ng context mong binubuo. So dito, meron akong buyers na barely na-surpass yung previous high. And then meron ako ditong strong sellers na clearly na-surpass itong prior low. And from that, yung minor flow ko is creating lower low and lower high. Right? So meron akong flow na nag-agree sa context. So meron akong low, high, and a lower low. And dun sa aking minor flow, meron akong lower low and lower high. And dito, lumabas ang energy point. Ito yung sinasabi ko sa inyong energy point. Gaano kalakas itong signal na binibigay ng energy point. So let's fast forward price. Lumabas ang ating fractal candle. And we have a second degree fractal reversal divergence na nangyari dito. Bakit? Kasi meron tayo ditong high and yung price is pababa. Alright? Pero yung momentum natin is projecting a higher high. Meaning, pwede itong pull back pababa kasi nga yung relative strength index natin is limited lang yung kaya niyang i-plot. So yung momentum is a little bit distorted. So we have a strong sellers and yung momentum niya nag-pull back pataas with a higher value dun sa previous low, which is dun sa price action natin is high. And then, lumabas yung ating fractal bar. So this is a hidden divergence plus a fractal bar. This setup makes a second degree fractal hybrid divergence. And makikita nyo doon, yung ating energy point. Makikita nyo itong candle wicks. Yan. So meron tayo dyan, price, respecting this line as a resistance. And meron din tayo ditong price, makikita mo kung paano ni-respect ng candle wicks. I call this line a frequency line. Bakit? Doon ko siya tinapat instead na doon sa peak na yon sa frequencies. Frequency kung saan may common path, doon siya nag-touch sa candle wicks. And price did not close below that candle wicks. And pinroject ko siya sa future. Meron tayong intersection dito. This is an energy point. So meron kang upsloping support and resistance line, downsloping support and resistance line, converging on a single focal point, and yung focal point na yon is exactly kung saan na-touch ng fractal bar mo. Sa mga ganitong setup, hindi ko na kailangan ng divergence. This setup is simply screaming for a reversal. So price, right after that one, bonus na lang talaga itong continuation divergence na nakita natin. Okay? So again, kung meron tayong 1 to 3, this is Logical stop loss is right above the fractal bar. Bakit? Kasi yun ang energy point. So logically, price should not have a problem going above. I mean, walang business yung price above that fractal bar. This is already a 4.1 to 4. I think 1 to 4 lang yata yung kinuha ko dito kasi nagko-consolidate. Pero kita nyo naman, lagpas-lagpas pa sa 1 to 4 yung gain dito. So yan, 1 to 6 nga eh. So this is the power of energy point converging to a second degree fractal reversal divergence, agreeing on the overall context na meron kang major sellers dito and yung minor flow mo is creating lower low and lower high, suggesting na meron kang strong sellers. This is where the minor flow wins over the major flow. Kaya titignan nyo kung yung strength ng minor flow is able to win over the major flow. So price action is all about gauging kung sino ang mas malakas na player. And right after that, masaya na ako. Nag-project ako ng line in the future. Makikita nyo naman dito. Fast forward price. Meron ka ditong intersection ulit. Dito naman, sa intersection na to, is another energy point. Tanggalin na natin tong... Ay. Yan, tanggalin na nga natin to. Yan. So dito, meron tayo ditong another energy point na yung high, yung previous fractal bar natin, in-extend ko sa future, creating a resistance line. All right? That resistance line, horizontal resistance line, is meeting again yet another slope, support, and resistance line. Makikita nyo dito kung ilang touches ng candle tails, right? Yung nire-respect nitong line na to. And then, binasag, and this is the first time na tinitest yung line na yon. And that line is a perfect intersection doon sa ating horizontal line. And at the same time, yung nag-touch doon sa energy point na yon is once again a fractal bar, which is, kung i-interpret mo on a bar-by-bar basis, relative volatility, mas volatile yung red candle, yung bearish candle natin. Shape interpretation, definitely, mas malaki tong candle na to, completely engulfs the previous candle. Relative position, ayan, napaka-define ng position niya, intersecting dito sa ating dalawang line na nag-converge. And bar quality, kita nyo naman yung body niyan, very defined and suggesting na yung future direction ng price. So nakakita ng fractal bar, pasok. Dahil solid naman yung context natin, I don't know if ano pang mas solid dito, meron kang energy point. So stop loss above fractal bar, target will be the minor flow. Dito. So dito ako, well, actually now that I think of it, pwede nating i-adjust yung target natin dito sa lowest low. Bakit? Kasi this is a reversal happening on a resistance line, on an energy point, and we have a second degree fractal reversal divergence. Meron kang price going up and meron kang momentum going down. And meron ka ditong quadruple intersection ng technique. First technique is the fractal bar. Second technique is yung upsloping support and resistance line. Third technique is yung horizontal line, and yung fourth technique is yung second degree fractal reversal divergence. This makes a lot of sense. So price should reach at least to this point kung meron mang buyers na magre-react dito, which will give us a 1 to 8.6 risk reward ratio. So that's how you identify a high quality trade opportunity using the fractal flow strategy. Si Madam Lian, yung slope support line, paano po malalaman kung saan siya i-anchor? So, good question. Dito is kailangan mo ng interpretation kung saan yung, kasi dito yung slope line na to, nakita ko to, siguro dahil na rin maraming beses ko nang pinapractice tong strategy. Makikita mo yung angle minsan ng price. Kasi ito, clearly merong price na nire-respect, may angle na nire-respect yung price action dito. So when you plot, actually I plot this one, and then in-extend ko, and nakita ko, ayun, tinamaan yung ano. Ganyan kayo mag-plot ng slope resistance line. Makita nyo merong certain angle or na nire-respect yung price action. Try to extend the future and you might be surprised kung saan yun tatama. And then dito, actually this is not a surprise to me anymore kasi meron akong horizontal line. Ito yung pinaka-obvious. Yung slope line is hindi pa obvious. I'll be honest with you. So, nung nakita ko lang to, dito papasok yung context ng reverse engineering. So, meron na akong area of interest na yung price is losing its momentum. Meron ako ditong simple divergence. Bago pa tong lumabas yung fractal bar na to. And then, nakita ko meron certain angle na nare-respect yung price action na nag-converge doon sa technique na yan. May kita nyo naman, hindi nag-close below yung price doon sa support line na yon. And this is a frequency line. So how many touches ng frequency? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay? And din dito, meron kang 1 and 2. And yung nag-touch final bago mag-close yung fractal bar natin, yung candle na yun is a fractal bar, which is nag-poke pero hindi nag-close above doon sa price, doon sa slope frequency line natin. Alright, so tanong ulit.
Coach, medyo nalito ako about sa fractal bar. Paano nga po na-identify yun, na fractal bar?
Ang fractal bar, makikita mo dito, paano mo siya ma-identify, is through momentum offset. Okay, so yung momentum offset natin is when you have a price going up, pero yung momentum mo is going down. So that is a divergent.
Ayun.
So
Mas
price
mahaba
going
pala
up
yung week.
and yung momentum mo is going down. All right?
Thanks po.
This is a momentum offset. So may tanong dito, bali ginagamit nyo lang po confirmation and slope support. Exactly. Ito yung sinasabi ko sa inyo kanina na magbi-build muna ng context and lines are just lines to confirm yung context na nabibuild mo. So dito nakakita ako ng area of interest and yung area of interest na yun, ni-reverse psychology ko, katulad ng sinabi dun sa course, na the more confluences, the more na line na magko-converge, the more techniques na magko-converge dun sa single focal point, mas maigi. Mag-a-agree yun sa contextual trading natin na hindi lang single technique yung mag-work to confirm. Ang confirmation natin is confluences ng several techniques working along with each other to pinpoint the reversal ng price. So, sabi dito, support na parang nagba-backread kayo. Yun, yung pag-backread, ang tamang term doon is reverse psychology. Exactly. So, si Ryan, Sir Ryan, hindi ka na nagamit, sir, fractal indicator, sir. Anong ibig sabihin nito, Sir Ryan? Meron bang fractal indicator? Parang hindi ko alam yun. So trading view, meron bang fractal indicator, sir? Hindi ko alam yun.
Yes, coach. May mga fractal support and resistance, Williams fractals, etc.
Hindi. Sa atin, ginagamit lang natin yung RSI to measure, to visualize the discrepancy or yung asymmetry between price and momentum. Kita nyo naman, hindi tayo nagre-rely masyado dito sa RSI natin, not unless dumating na tayo dun sa area of interest to confirm and solidify our context bago tayo pumasok. And kung makikita nyo, sa mga previous posts ko dun sa group, halos hindi na ako gumagamit ng fractal bar. Sa totoo ng RSI. Kasi kung meron kang line na nagko-converge at nagko-confirm, ito mga simple lines lang to eh. Sabi ko nga, icing on the cake na lang yung makakita ka ng second degree fractal reversal divergence. Pero itong setup na to is simply screaming for a reversal na, which is nag-agree sa overall context mo. Meron kang strong downtrend, major flow and minor flow, and meron kang buyers dito na hindi na surpass yung previous high. So that means meron kang sellers ulit. And in terms of relative volatility ng vector, makikita nyo naman kung gaano kadali pinababa ni sellers yung price compared sa travel time ni buyers bago papuntahin yung price doon sa high na yon, which hindi niya pa na-surpass. So nakikita niyo kung paano magbuo ng ng market logic or ng market context.
Yes po.
Oo, sana naman. Actually, pay attention lang doon sa facts. Keep drawing the lines. Keep marking the highs and lows. Kasi doon yung makikita yung disconnected facts na kapag nag-make sense or kapag nagkaroon ng logic behind, doon kayo pwedeng makabuo ng trade idea. Alright, balikan natin si 5-minute chart ni Solana. Tignan natin ang nangyayari. Solana. 5-minute. Wala, mabagal pa rin yung price action ni Solana.